Well, hello, it's Jimmy from Stuart Arts, and I just wanted to make one other comment about my Unimat. I did another video on this. If you haven't seen it, you might look at that one. I really enjoyed this tool. It's just such a versatile little lathe, and from what I've seen, on YouTube and the internet, the folks that have these really get a lot of good use out of them. But for the first few months I had this, I did not have Tommy bars for my little chuck there, and so I was tightening things by hand, and it took me a while to realize that I needed Tommy bars, but I finally made them. Just cut them out of stainless, a real simple design, and they work just fine. But the big problem I have is that about every fifth or sixth time I start this lathe, I forget to take the Tommy bars out of there, and so they get ejected out of the lathe. They've never hit me. They usually just end up under the bench over here or just on the floor. They haven't really hurt anything, but I realize that is a safety issue, and I thought about maybe putting a spring on the end of these so that they cannot stay in here or something to prevent me from forgetting about them. And I was just wondering if any of you Unimat lathe users or if any of you mini lathe users may have a solution for this. I also have the Harbor Freight mini lathe here as well, and I use this for some of my larger jobs. But the newer lathes, if you haven't seen it, they have this safety device here, and so when you chuck up your piece in the lathe to work it, if you turn this lathe on with that chuck in there, that thing that can really injure you. That can be a real big problem, especially for the larger lathes. So there's a really nice safety feature that the lathes have these days, and you have this interlock here. This thing has to be down in order for the lathe to turn on. So there it is. I've turned it on. The interlock is made up right now, and if you lift this up, the lathe will shut itself down. It has to be reset. So that's, I think, an outstanding design feature of the newer lathes. But the older ones don't have that. But I do know that there are some aftermarket devices that you can get to prevent you from turning the lathe on with the chucks in place. So that's all I wanted to say. I'm just wondering if any of the mini lathe users out there have any comments on how to prevent the Tommy bars from being thrown out of there. Thanks very much. I hope you enjoyed this video.